Good morning, everybody. Today is what's the clock? April 18th, 2022. Now, I want to talk about what has been going on with the singer Angel. Don't kick my camera. Sorry, I have my little dog down here. I want to talk about, is it Osinachi? Please forgive me if I butcher her name. I don't know this young lady personally at all. Hold on. I don't personally know her. I've never heard about her up until the incident that happened, that she was taken out, snuffed out by her husband. And I've talked about this issue of abuse and women subjecting themselves to abusive marriages in the name of the tradition, the culture, and the religion in Africa, especially Nigeria. I've talked about this in the past. They laugh at me, they mock me, they insulted me, they call me all kinds of names. Yes, I left it. And then recently, when this thing came up, a lot of people who knows me personally has been asking, how come you didn't make a video? Why you not talking about this? And I was just really frustrated and just angry with my people, with our people. Why did it have to come to this point for us to wake up and acknowledge what has really been going on, quietly and silently? Now, many of you may not agree with what I'm about to say, but I want you to please bear with me. Have an open mind. Put your feelings aside, your emotions, your sentiment. Put it aside for a moment. And let's be brutally and sincerely honest with ourselves and each other so we can address this issue, nip it in the bud, cut it off at the root, and begin to find a solution to the problem and begin to heal the land called Nigeria, the continent called Africa. This is Dagnet. Now, many of you may know me from Warriors Prayer Bootcamp. Yeah, that was my YouTube channel. YouTube took it down about a year ago, but that's another subject. I think I did a video about that. So anyway, now I'm going to say Africa as a whole, but especially Nigeria. I have nothing against Nigerians. I'm an African. Okay, so like I said, put your feelings aside. It's not about your feelings or emotions or my feelings or my emotion. Let's state the obvious. Unfortunately, I blame Nigeria for the cause of her death. Yes, because that same young lady, had she left her marriage, we would have been the same people who are on Facebook all over making a whole lot of noise and comments that are acting as if they really care. You would have been many of you, some people really actually care. I gave you that. But many of you, if you are honest, because our people don't like honesty, we're a bunch of hypocrites. I call many of us Africans emotional hypocrites, if we're honest. Now, if that lady had left her marriage, many of you would have been the same very people condemning her, calling her names. You will ridicule her. You will take to social media. Oh, you are a minister. You are a gospel singer. You are a lead singer. You are a woman of God. You are in the church. You are in leadership. And would have given her a whole lot of scriptures to quote to justify why she should have stayed there. Now she stayed there for the very reason so you don't mock her and ridicule her. She stayed there and she died in it. Now you are acting like you care. Many of you acting like you care so much. We are to be blamed. Excuse me, sorry, I just kicked my camera. We are to be blamed for her death because the culture that we have, mostly in Nigeria, but it's also prevalent in other parts of Africa, but mostly in Nigeria, that culture is what gave birth to abusive marriages and what caused women to stay and silently endure abusive marriages. The culture gave birth to such a tragedy. The culture gave birth. Because we push young people into marriages even before time, before they even discover themselves, their purpose, their calling, why they're put on this earth. They have not even worked their own issues, their own emotional issues out. Because many of us Africans, if we're honest, we came from abusive family home. This video may go very long, and I'm just going to let it go long. I can cut it into part 1, part 2, part 3, no problem. But many of us Africans, I always make a post on Facebook that many of us Africans, we are broken and damaged people. Because why? We came from homes and parents who themselves were broken and damaged. And what do you expect to come out of somebody who's broken and damaged? What do you expect to come out of a culture or a system that is abused, broken, and damaged. The same thing. We are a product of our environment, period. If we accept that, we are on the beginning on the road to finding healing and deliverance and cleansing. If not, we can continue to live in denial and continue the vicious cycle until somebody, your daughter or somebody else's daughter died, then maybe you'll wake up. Now, we came from abusive homes. Whether you saw your mother being abused physically or verbally, or you yourself as a child, and more than likely, if there's abuse in the home, the children are also being abused. And some people say, okay, maybe he didn't beat the children. The fact that the children watched and witnessed their mother being abused, whether physically or verbally, just watching it is an abuse. Because by them watching that, you have damaged them for life. So abuse doesn't mean somebody have to lay hands on you. You have abused them. It changes their nature, their characteristic, their attributes at the molecular, cellular, DNA, atomic level. You have changed them for life, for good. Unless they go through some serious healing and counseling to restore them back, but you have messed them up. Just the fact that they watch you destroy their mother to the point of death. Years and years of abuse, you have abused them. So we come from homes where we see abuse, or we experienced abuse. Then you get married, you go to school, your home, your parents abuse you, or your parents abuse each other, or one parent abuse the other parent. You watch that as a child growing up. Whether physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, but abuse is in the home. Then you also become, they abuse you in the home too. Then you go to school, your teacher abuse you, whether physically, verbally, or they flog you. Isn't it? In front of each other. Then you get married into a husband, and the husband flog you. Of course, you see the culture? Do you see the culture? It's from the home. It didn't start yesterday. It's from the home. The homes are broken. So Africa, we have to first of all stop forcing young men and young women into marriages when they're not ready. People need to, first of all, I always tell people, work on your mess. Fix yourself up. Get healed. Get delivered. However, get healed. Before you invite somebody into your mess, you call marriage. And this was going on in the whole continent of Africa, but specifically Nigeria. When we live in a culture that will push young men and women into marriage before time, before they have discovered themselves, their purpose, their calling, and we just push them into marriage, this is what happens. You have a young woman can be very successful in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. She can be very successful in her profession, in her career, a businesswoman. But if she's not married, that same society will look down upon her and consider her to be a failure. Why? Because she doesn't have a husband. We are the one who gave birth to this mindset. We are the one who caused that woman to die. Yes, all of us, we are guilty as charged. So let's stop pretending like, that we care. We contributed to her death. If you have ever mocked or insulted or ridiculed or talked down or belittled a woman, regardless of her age, because she's single, even though other parts of her life she's successful, but because she doesn't have a husband, and you have ridiculed her in the past, you have insulted her, you have mocked her, you have belittled her because she didn't have a husband, you, my friend, contributed to Osinachi death. Yes. So don't go on social media and pretend and make posts like you care. You contributed to her death. And if you do this in the future, you are just as guilty as charged. Please, we must stop forcing people. Am I saying marriage is wrong? I'm not saying that. Don't take my word and twist it. If you have a beautiful marriage, bless you, thank you, God bless you. But if somebody is single, please don't pressure them. Parents, in-laws, siblings, society, stop pressuring people that marriage is the end all and be all. Stop pressuring young men and women to jump into marriages when they are not ready. Marriage doesn't solve any problem. If anything, it exasperates your problem. Whatever your weaknesses and your character flaws, if you don't fix it when you're single, marriage only exasperates the problem. It only shines a light and make it bigger and seems worse than it really was when you're single living by yourself. Let's stop forcing people. Instead, we should create a culture as young men and women go to school to become doctors and lawyers and nurses and teachers and professions. I think it's about time Africa Whether you Christian or not, it's about time we begin to set up systems, schools, or incorporate that into the school system to teach young men and young women to discover who they are. Teach them self-respect, dignity, and honor. Because if I love and respect and honor myself, why would I disrespect and dishonor another human being? Those are value systems we need to teach our people, our young men and women growing up. Even some of the older people in marriages, some of them need to go for some serious marital counseling. And then even the church, let me bring the church into it. When most churches, whether in America or in other parts of the world, Africa, Nigeria, they go for marital counseling if they're part of a church before they get married. How long is the marital counseling? Few days, few weeks, maybe a few months. Are those issues addressed? Domestic violence, abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. Are those issues addressed? What do they really talk about in marital counseling in the church before you get married? What are the issues that are addressed? Hello, pastors, what are the issues that are addressed? So society, Africa, Nigeria, we gave birth to such an abusive marriage because we force people into marriages before they are ready to handle the responsibility of being married. We force them. We must stop insulting and ridiculing young women. If a woman is divorced, you ridicule her. If she's a single mother, you don't even know how and why she got divorced or how and why she's single, you ridicule her, you mock her. If she was married and she left her marriage, you have no clue, you didn't ask, you didn't investigate, you mock her, you stigmatize her as if she's like a damaged product. You are who going to marry you now? You are a single mother, you have single kids, and you are divorced. Who will marry you? Why? Then now we're all shocked and we're all surprised and we're all acting like we really care that how come she died. We contributed to her death. So please, we must stop. All of us, we are guilty. We must stop this. Stop ridiculing people. Stop mocking people. Marriage is not the end all and be all. And if you divorce, you're not going to go to hell. Because you can't tell me what God, many Christians, the biggest justification or excuse is what God put together, let no man separate. Excuse me, if we are honest. Again, I say, if we are brutally and sincerely honest, many of you, God did not put you together. You put yourself together. If you are honest. Because you married in the church and the pastor officiated your wedding does not mean God put you together. Some of you, your culture put you together. Your family put you together. Peer pressure put you together. You yourself, financial situation, circumstances put you together. Or maybe you say, oh, I'm getting up there in age. I'm 30, 40, 50. All my mates are married. You rush and found somebody. You put yourself together. Some of you, what a green card, citizenship. The point is, you put yourselves together. Now you want God to keep what you put together. Then you say God hates divorce and what he put together. Let no man separate. But did God put you together? If we are honest. So you put yourself together. My friend, keep yourself together. Leave God out of this. You didn't ask your opinion that's the right person. Maybe your apostle bishop told you that's the right person. But you didn't go to God to confirm or deny what your apostle said or what your bishop said. Your apostle's words and bishop word is gospel. And it's almost as if God himself spoke. So you run with it. Let's stop putting the blame on God. We put ourselves together. Hello, Africa. Hello, Nigeria. We are to be blamed for this beautiful young lady's death. Like I said in the beginning, I don't know her. I never heard about her. I went online and listened to one or two of her songs. I don't even understand the language, the song she's singing in language. But when I listen to it, it sounds like to me, if some of you can recognize the words in her song, it sounds as if to me she was crying out for help. I don't know, but you listen to it, spiritual, I listen to other worship songs in different languages. Those who know me personally can attest. I listen to worship songs in different languages. I don't understand the language in the natural, but my spirit understands very well because I'll ask you, what language does your spirit speak? I won't get too deep with that, but you getting my point. And I listen to a few of her worship, and it moves me. And I was like, I bet you this woman is crying out for help in the messages, but nobody got it. You see, Africa, we are to be blamed. We must stop this mocking people and looking down upon them because they didn't get married. It has to stop. The culture, the society pressure people too much with marriage, marriage, marriage. It has to stop. Let's stop. Let's start pressuring people to work on themselves. You came from a broken home. Why not work on yourself? But then instead of working on yourself to heal yourself, you go and invite another person who's as broken as you to jump in the mess you call marriage. You see the problem? And we don't like honesty. We don't like honesty. We don't like to be honest with ourselves. We want to lie and live in deception. Please, let's stop this game. Too many lives have been lost. And the reason why this woman's situation, her death, is all over social media in most African countries, and I'm sure in other parts. I mean, I live in America and I found out about it, so that tells you other people are talking about it besides Nigerians and besides Africans, isn't it? But why are we talking about it? Because she's famous, mostly in Nigeria, maybe all of Africa, I don't know. I didn't know about her until this situation. Hello? But why are we talking about it? Because she's known. But how many other women out there have died in the same circumstances? No one knows their name. No one is talking about them. No one has given them a voice or an attention to their problem. Many women have died. Hundreds and thousands and millions of women all over Nigeria, all over Africa. Nobody is talking about them. You see? You see how we're hypocrites? You see? The only reason why we're talking is because she's famous. And this happened, what? To shine a light. Because she's not the only woman who died in domestic violence. But she's the only one that's recognizable, so we're talking about it. But what about the millions that have died? Nobody look. Even women will be suffering. Their husband will beat them. They will go to their father's home, to their mother's, and their family will send them back. Nigeria, that is wicked. That is evil. How can a parent send their child back into an abusive marriage? Now, I'm not saying all parents do this in Nigeria. I understand that. But majority of the culture, if we're honest, my friend, they do that. I'll go back to your marriage. Why? We have to stop this. People are saying, raise your daughters so her husband doesn't abuse her. Wonderful. That's good. Raise your daughter. Also, raise your son and tell him, my friend, do not go and turn somebody else's daughter into a punching bag. Raise your son like that too. Don't just tell the daughter, don't let any man lay hands on you. Tell your son also, do not turn somebody else's daughter into a punching bag. Or I'm your mother, I will turn you into a punching bag. Hello? We must do that. Mother-in-law, do not encourage your son to abuse somebody else's daughter. You too, you are somebody's daughter, isn't it? And maybe your husband did beat you, or because he did so, somebody else's daughter must go through what you went through. It has to stop somewhere. And it shouldn't stop because somebody died. Even the same day she died, her video went, the news went viral. There are so many women still today that are suffering in abusive marriages in Nigeria. Who's giving a voice for them? They are still suffering today. We are still talking about it, but today, they are still dying. Inside, they are suffering. They are silently suffering. Who's going to come and give them a voice? You see our problem now? We're all focusing on her. But we forgot the millions that are still suffering in silence till today. We contributed to the society that allow such abuse to the point of death. Because we mock people. We ridicule people. Why you not married? Why, especially women. There are men who don't, they won't force too much. If a man in his 30 or 40, he married, they don't put too much stress on him, but the stress is always on the woman. Why we put so much burdens and trust on one person? Even in marriages, they were for a successful marriage, they blame the woman. Well-behaved children, they blame the woman. The husband happiness is the woman's fault. Why everything is on the woman? Is there no men? Are there no men in those marriages? All the burdens is women. Really? But then you, the same Christians say, the Bible said the woman is the weaker vessel, but she carrying all the load. She's the one responsible for keeping the husband happy, keeping the house happy, keeping the marriage successful, keeping the children successful. But you say she's a weaker vessel. But for being a weaker vessel, she's certainly carrying a lot of load. Women are tired. We need to stop. And women, as a woman, an African woman, I was born in Liberia. I was raised in America. But that doesn't mean I don't see it. It's happening even in the West. Not as often. Because the society in the West, they frowned upon it. it's not accepted. They don't put it. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but not at the magnitude it happens in Nigeria and Africa. If we're honest, let's not come to my video and come put finger point and blame shame and say, please, let's address the issue and let's be honest and let's begin to